Hello and welcome, I'm Garth Allen, this is Racing News Now, and today we're going to talk about the future of the ARCA Menards Series East. Does it have a future? Within the folds of the ARCA Menards Series, specifically the thoughts of ARCA President Ron Drager. He held a press conference, it was a little over a week ago now, just before Mid-Ohio. It was supposed to be about ARCA's 1500th race at Mid-Ohio, but there were questions brought up about the East and the West. It's been a crazy past week or so. I meant to get this video out before now and haven't had a chance to, so we're going to talk about this now because I feel like this is important and needs to be talked about. But before we get into that, if you're new here, consider going down below to hit that subscribe button. It's free to do. We're currently in our hashtag race to 1K. The quicker we get to 1,000 subscribers, the quicker YouTube will let us do mobile live streaming from the track, which will greatly improve both the quality and quantity of coverage we're able to give you at the track this season and beyond. We will be at most of the remaining races for the ARCA Menards Series this season. Next one will either be Elko or Berlin. Not 100% sure on Elko yet, but will for sure be at Berlin. And after that, the only other race that's up in the air that I'm not 100% sure we'll be at is Watkins Glen. So the quicker we hit 1,000, the quicker you get more and better coverage from those ARCA races for the rest of this season. All you gotta do is hit that subscribe button. It's as simple as that. No catches, no nothing, and you just get better content going forward. All right, so let's talk about this press conference. First, I want to briefly touch on some things he talked about here that aren't the main focus of this video, but I think are good talking points as well. First off, he mentioned how after this season, once Gen 6 chassis are not needed in the Cup Series, that they will become available for teams in the ARCA Menards Series, and how that's going to make a cheaper option for better equipment going forward. He mentioned specifically that they could be as cheap as buying a late model, and that could help more independent teams get into ARCA and possibly be competitive with the big teams, the Gibbs, the Venturinis, the DGRs, and possibly be able to compete with them on their level going forward. Now, this would be fantastic for the series. I hope this works out the way he's got this envisioned. We all know there's a lot of things that look good on paper, but then when they get put into practice, we just get a 40-car field that still looks exactly like the races we have now, just with a few more cars. You've just got one or two cars running away with it, and it's still not the greatest race in the world. So hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully we get more Greg Van Alst and Andy Jankowiaks rather than more just teams out there to just log a few laps and start and park. That would be the hope, that we get some more fantastic racing out of this series as these chassis become available, but we'll see. So let's go ahead and talk about the main topic of this video, what I really want to talk about here, and that is the future of the ARCA Menards Series East. Now, the first thing we're going to hit on here, the first answer from President Ron Drager, is the reason why the ARCA Menards Series East schedule looks the way it does this season, with 5 standalone races and 3 combo races with the main ARCA Menards Series. We've already gotten through the 5 standalone races, and we just have the 3 combo races left at Iowa, Milwaukee, and Bristol. He's got an interesting answer as to why the schedule looks like this, and I had a feeling this was probably why the East schedule looked like this year, and it really does kind of make sense. So let's take a listen to that before we get into the future.
A lot of what the series were as the NASCAR K&N Pro Series East or West isn't the same. And so we're trying to be open-minded about that as those things evolve and change, that we're prepared to do the same. You can look at the East Series schedule this year, and, there's no secret. There are 5 standalone races and 3 conjunction races with the ARCA Menards Series. That's specifically because we were very concerned about the participant level, the car count. And we didn't want to overburden those team owners with too many races and try to keep the nucleus of it there and keep the series as healthy as we could.
Okay, so this makes sense. He's acknowledging car count. He was worried as we come out of this COVID world back into more or less a normal world that car counts were not going to be very healthy for the East Series this season. That's why we see an influx in combo races this year and only 5 standalone races. And it makes sense, and we're seeing that play out this year. The car counts for the East Series are not good this year for most races. They were a little up for Southern National this weekend. We had 16 cars in that race. Now, 5 of those were starting parks, but 16 cars total, so the car counts are going up slightly. So we're on the rebound a little bit, but again, it makes sense. As for the future of the ARCA Menards Series East, that question was raised as well, as there have been rumors recently. You may have heard this, you may not have. I haven't reported on it specifically on here because I don't like to report on rumors. I don't like to report on anything until it's actually been announced that the East and the West Series are going to merge into the main ARCA Series maybe as soon as the next couple of years. Now again, that's just a rumor that has not been confirmed. The series has really shied away from that and have said that that's not going to happen, but that hasn't stopped those rumors from flying around in recent weeks and in recent months. So of course that question was brought up in this press conference, and Ron had an interesting answer here that I'm not super happy with. Let's take a listen to this.
I think what you're seeing right now, what we did with the East Series, is probably the best example of how we intend to manage that going forward. Instead of saying, here's 8 or 10 or 12 races that you would run for a championship in the East, and then separate and apart from that, here's 20 races in the ARCA Menards Series. We're building an 8-race schedule for the East that gives a team owner an opportunity to run 5 standalones, 5 plus 3 combinations, or as many of the ARCA platform races at mile and less, where the equipment is the same, the driver eligibility is the same. So there's a lot of opportunities to race, depending on what your budget is, depending on what your appetite is for number of races and travel and expense. It's probably a model that you'll see us continue to employ. The West is the West. One thing that we learned almost immediately was it's nearly impossible for race teams that are operating at this level, at this, in this platform, to be crisscrossing the country. It's just not really realistic. So if Bill McAnally had a shop in Charlotte and he ran East and ARCA Menards cars out of there and West cars out of his shop that I was privileged to go visit with him last fall up there in Roseville, he could do that, but he's not going to chase back and forth, nor is Bob Brancotti, nor is Todd Souza or any of those guys. So we do feel like that there's a West Series that sort of needs to be managed as a cohesive group in an independent series. The East Series, what you see this year, maybe 5 and 3 combos, and the West Series being what it is. That's sort of our vision going forward.
So you're telling me that the schedule we're seeing from the ARCA Menards Series East this year, 5 standalones and 3 combos, that's the vision going forward. That's going to be the permanent layout of the ARCA Menards Series East schedule. Basically a 5-race season. I mean, let's be honest, that's all it is. Those combo races, take them or leave them. There's no need for that many combo races when you've got the Sioux Chief Showdown already. What's the point in the Sioux Chief Showdown if you're going to run half of the East races in combo with the ARCA Menards Series as well? And let's not forget that those 3 combo races are also showdown races. So now we're going to get points for 3 different series in one race, or technically in 3 races, but each race specifically. Why? Why does the East Series need to exist if you're going to run it like this? Either run it as its own thing or don't run it at all. I don't want the East Series to disappear, but if you're only going to run it with like this, with 5 real races, just get rid of it already. Put it out of its misery. It's on life support at this point. If you're going to run it like this, it's on life support. Either pull the plug or give it the miracle drug and get it back to full strength. One or the other. You can't keep it on life support like this forever. But if you run it like this, it's just on life support. That's all it is. And it's a shell of a series. There's no need for it with a schedule like this. There really isn't. Especially when the Sioux Chief Showdown exists. What's the point in the Sioux Chief Showdown if you're going to run half of the East races in combo as well? Isn't that the point of the Sioux Chief Showdown, is for these East and West teams to run their drivers that aren't 18 yet and still have a chance to run for a championship under the ARCA Menards Series umbrella? Why are we bringing the East Series into that fold as well in the same races nonetheless? I don't get it. I don't understand why this is a thing. I really hope we get some more clarity on this. Either that or ARCA reconsiders this, because honestly, this is just dumb. This really is. I'm sorry to say that, but I don't understand the thought process here. There is no reason for the East to exist if that is going to be how they lay out the schedule going forward. Just get rid of it. Run the ARCA Menards series with the Sioux Chief Showdown under it, and keep the West as the West. I mean, he summed it up really well. The West has to be the West. You can't really get rid of the West. So run the West as its own thing, but if you're going to run the East like this, just get rid of it. Add 5, 8, 10 races to the ARCA schedule to add in some of these tracks that would have been on the East schedule. Run the Sioux Chief Showdown within this 25 to 30 race ARCA schedule and be done with it. Because if this is how the East Series is going to be, what's the point? I feel like that's the point of this video, is what's the point? I don't understand. You can't keep it on life support forever. You just can't. You can try, but eventually the life support doesn't do a lot of good in the end either. So, I don't know. Ultimately, it's up to ARCA to make these decisions. I'm, unfortunately, not in any position to make these kind of decisions, although sometimes I would like to be. I really wish they would... I wish they would rethink this, because this is not... At least in my view, this is not a good way of running the East Series. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. What do you think? Are you fine with 5 standalones and 3 combos going forward? Or does ARCA really need to rethink this? Am I on the right wavelength here, I guess is the question. So let me know down in the comments what you think about this, and what you think about the future of the ARCA Menards Series East as a whole and the ARCA Menards Series as a whole. But I think that's going to do it for this one. iRacing Tuesday, probably coming up later tonight. I do believe this is going to go out sometime during the day on Tuesday. So iRacing Tuesday coming up tonight. I do believe it's going to be an AI race. Not going to spoil what it is yet, but it's going to be something fun. So there is that. We should be back with the driver on that next week. Still trying to figure out when the Sammy Smith interview is going to be to talk to him about Southern National. So hopefully we have that coming up for you here in the next couple of days. And then that's about all we got for you, because we got off weekend with ARCA this weekend. Maybe an SRX watch party on Saturday. Maybe we do a Nashville watch party. That might be fun. So who knows? We'll figure out something to do this weekend. Then ARCA's back at Pocono next weekend. So thank you as always to our Patreon supporter, Regional Manager William Holmes. Thank you as always for your support. It is greatly appreciated. If you would like to be a patron of RNN, the link is down below in the description. Patreon.com/RacingNewsNow. Not required by any means, but definitely appreciated when you want to support RNN in that way. But I think that's going to do it. So at that, this has been thoughts on the future of the ARCA Menards series. I don't really know what to call it at this point, but that's about all we got for you. So I'm Garth Allen for Racing News Now.